Hammertime!
What's up everyone, welcome back to another Hammertime video. Today we're going to be doing a review on the Milwaukee 2598-22 hammer drill and impact driver kit. So Milwaukee did send me this kit for review, and I'm not paid, sponsored, whatever, to say anything positive about these tools or anything. I was just sent these tools and that's really my payment or whatever for doing this review. So I'd like to point out a few key features before we get started. So starting with the hammer drill. So we have all metal keyless chuck, which is nice here, and it's a really small hammer drill, which is really a cool feature on these 12-volt tools nowadays, because these hammer drills are so compact that you can take them to the job site and they perform almost as well as a full-size corded hammer drill. So that's really big plus on this. So it has 17 clutch settings, a drill mode, a hammer drill mode, 2 speeds, just like you find on pretty much any drill on the market today, pretty much. Reversible speed, it's reversible, a nice big bright LED light here, and it's got a variable speed trigger, and then it's also got the fuel gauge. If you just slightly press the trigger, it shows you the fuel gauge, and it's got this cool belt clip. So I'm moving on to the impact driver. This impact driver also has LED light, variable speed trigger, reversible, so it's got all those things. It's got the belt clip, and then it has a single-handed collet or chuck. I don't know what you really would call this, but you can slide the bit in and you don't have to do any sort of releasing the collet to get the bit in. You just have to release it to get it out. And then it also has 4 speeds here. So it's got speed 1, which is for very light duty work, where you want very little torque and a lot of control. Speed 2 is kind of mid-range. Not too many people are going to be using this, but it's where you want very fine control, but a little bit more torque and speed than mode 1. Mode 3, however, has pretty much all the power you're ever going to need. It can drive 5-inch lag screws, 3-inch screws. Like it really has all the power you could ever need. It's really a handy speed. Speed 4, which is a self-tapping mode, is great for self-tapping screws, and it also works well with wood screws. It spins really fast, and then as soon as the screw catches, it slows down to drive it and set it flush with the wood, or close to flush if it's not a self-countersinking screw. Okay, and then the batteries here. So this comes with a 2-amp battery, and this comes with a 4-amp battery. So the 4-amp battery, they're both compatible, but if you switch it out to the 4-amp battery on the impact driver, or you just leave it on the hammer drill, it really can up the power of what you're doing. I wouldn't try and drive 5-inch lags like I did during this with the little battery right up to the 4-amp battery, but I just wanted to show you how it actually can. It still works. So those are the few key features, and I also like to mention that I was sent these bits to the black oxide and the shockwave bit set to test along with these to use them for the test, not to give a review but to test them. But I'm just going to give you a little summary here. I changed it out to the DeWalt bit during this test, and it on the shockwave bits, because this bit set has all the driving bits, and I compared it to these two just to see, and I think that the DeWalt worked a little bit better on it. I had those on hand, and I thought I'd make a little comparison. So just heads up that I like the DeWalt bits better on these. Alright, let's get started with this testing. So the 3-inch screws drove really well on mode 3. It just depended how deep you wanted to go on these. Well, that jumped. It jumped quite a bit on that. Here's the comparison. Here's the DeWalt driver.
DeWalt bit worked a little bit better, gripped the screw a bit better. This, you always should pre-drill when using a lag screw. Otherwise you'll crack the wood and stuff. This is just not pre-drilled for a test. And I'd always do this on the 4-amp battery.
Better off doing it with a 4-amp battery on this.
This is definitely where this would work fine, but I tried this and I broke a head off, so I'd always still pre-drill. This is mode 3 here. Mode 2 works great, but it does have a tendency to kind of break the screws sometimes, but I'm not sure why that happened. Might have been bad screw whatsoever, but mode 3 worked just fine, although if you go crazy with it, it will break the screw.
Just butter. So now if we switch to a self-tapping mode and this 1-inch wood screw, we'll see what it does here.
So if you notice here, it's taking a while to tap. This is because it does not have any self-tapping or anything to dig in. It doesn't have a really sharp point or anything. So you always want to pre-drill for these, but this was just for the test here to see what this self-tapping mode can handle. And as I'm holding down the trigger, I'm really not.
Pretty good. Let's see if I can do a second.
I'm really not keep hitting it against it, but it just does that automatically. And the self-tapping mode, it starts it out real fast to catch the screw, and then it slows it down to drive it. This worked really flawlessly. These are really nice bits, and the drill performed really nice with this. And I've got to say, the masonry bits and hammer drilling is where this thing just excels. It went so smooth with this and everything. And it almost went as fast as a corded hammer drill. It was really a surprising test. So this worked really well. It just slowed down here. I'm not really sure why, but it must have hit a rock or something. It got through.
So clutch 17, and we're going to be using a 1 5/8 screw.
If you really prefer hand drills here for driving screws, this is definitely the way to go, and this drill worked really well for that.
That worked good. That worked good. Let's see. Worked pretty good. Just torques your hand a little bit if you get too crazy with it. 5/8 spade bit through a 2x4 on drill mode.
You're wondering why I didn't do any bigger bits here? That's because it would not handle anything larger than this, and this was the largest capacity it would go, and I just want to show you how well it worked here. 3/4 was questionable for sure.
So overall, I really like these tools. They have all the power anybody's gonna ever really need for, like, I wouldn't really use them for your main tool for construction. I'd go to a 20 volt or an 18 volt tool for that, but anybody really could just get these and have them as pretty much their only tool. I might keep a 20 volt drill in hand like I do, but these can probably soon take over the 20 volt and 18 volt drill population. So I'd like to point out a few things that could have made these a little better in my opinion. So first of all, I think they could have maybe made this metal part here magnetic, so you could leave screws on there while you're driving, and you could always reach over, keep grabbing your screws, and then reach into your tool pouch, whatever, and keep reloading. And I think that might have been helpful. And then the collet on here actually has a tendency sometimes not to completely grab the bits on here, but I don't know, I think that's just maybe user error, I'm not sure. And then another thing is maybe I've seen on some of the other tools that have fuel gauges, you have a button that you push. I think that might have been more handy than just depressing the trigger, but depressing the trigger is plenty handy, so that's one thing. And then these battery can be a little bit hard to get off, but it's maybe because you don't want them to fall off when they break in, or it's just because they're brand new. I'm not sure on that. And then the belt clip here, when you grab it over the top, it can slightly dig into your finger as you're driving a screw, but it's not a major concern because you can just unscrew it, replace it to the other side, or take it off completely. But that's just the rundown on that, and otherwise I really like this impact driver. The hammer drill. So the hammer drill really doesn't have many features that I would really not want to have or need here. One would be though that the battery's a little tight on here. Now on here you can grab around the bottom and pull it off. On here it's a little harder because you have the big 4 amp battery pack on it, so it's just a little tricky to get it off. So that might just be the same thing as the impact driver user error whatsoever, but that's just a thing I want to point out on that. But otherwise the belt clip has the same issue, but it's fine. It really doesn't matter to me. But anyway, I really like these tools, really highly recommend them, and I really like to thank, big thanks to Milwaukee for partnering with Hammertime Woodworks and sending these tools for review. That was really helpful, you guys. Big thanks, big shout out. Go ahead and check out their tools. They have awesome tools. Alright, till next time, happy building. Okay, so now I'm going to have my grandpa come into the shop, and he's going to review and give his opinion on the kit. And just a few things about him is he's a U.S. Vietnam vet, built tons of projects, woodworker, taught himself everything before YouTube, so knows a lot about all this stuff and been through quite a few different tools, remodeled his house and built additions onto it and fences and all kinds of stuff like that. So let's see what he thinks about these tools. So what do you think?
Well, we were comparing the Ryobi to the DeWalt to the Milwaukee. Now the Ryobi is an 18 volt
one was 20 and the Milwaukee was 12, right?
12, right.
Okay.
And the biggest advantage that I saw, I have a Ryobi, and what I felt was that the Ryobi and the DeWalt are certainly heavier and larger than the Milwaukee. But in comparing the jobs that they do, be it drilling holes or screwing in a screw, given which one would be easier, I think actually Milwaukee would be because of the size and the weight in the long run. Any one of the three would actually do a job.
Right. It just might one be a little bit very easy.
Well, it's easier. It's a tad bit easier for people to use, probably, for the general public to
like,
use.
what about comparing the impact driver to the others? Like, what do you like better out of those?
Well, it almost seemed to be, if I can recall correctly, a little faster.
It spins. It spins. I think double the speed, but
yeah, and
makes all more noise.
it does. They're all very nice.
Yeah, either way.
You know, pound for pound, 12-volt system certainly is very close in power.
Yeah, I think it compared
Very nicely.
Yeah.
So I'm a believer.